Ladies and gentlemen, our guest, Brandon. No, not that Brandon. The one that everybody says F you to. This one we like. The A Show.
Where smart is the new sexy.
And now, April Hunter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. The gates. Hola. Bonjour. So today...
Konnichiwa. Sorry.
Yeah, konnichiwa, bitches. So today we have a very special guest, and I have a very special co-host, Ray. And first off, let me apologize for not being here last week. We're going to blame that solely on Colin.
Oh, all fucking Colin's fault.
Colin fucked up, and we are sorry we were not here last week, but we're here now, and thank you for joining us. Ray was on a date last week, and this is what happens when Ray is not around. Things get screwed up. So, hi, Ray. Welcome.
Hi. I was banging my wife.
It's cool. And tell us about our awesome guest, Brandon, here.
Well, as usual, I always like to give an intro to our guest, but our guest is a podcaster first. I'm going to put that out there really quickly. And when he is introduced on his podcast, everything goes in slow motion. Everything gets a little more quiet. And then his theme song begins to play. Ladies and gentlemen, see, look, everything's in slow motion. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend. He is a podcaster, former pro wrestler, former referee. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a gaming streamer. Yes, he streams games. He plays video games, very proficient at that. But there's a little more to Brandon than just Brandon. I would like to also introduce to you the beautiful, the magnificent, the glorious Miss Tia, the Transarchist. Miss Tia, Brandon, say hello to our friends.
How's everybody doing today?
How was that? Was that a good intro for you, bro?
I liked it. Thank you, Ray.
Oh, you're welcome. That's what we do, man. We got some people coming in the chat, by the way. It's only a couple of people right now, but we have Mr. All right, you know them better than I do, but it's what's it, Braithwaite?
Yep, and Winona and AB Twitch. Welcome.
Okay,
we're still early. We're still early in the day. They start hitting in around 5 o'clock. But so and Chuck, hey. He says he can't hear.
Can hear what?
He says can't hear you. Can is anybody else having problems hearing?
Hearing me?
I don't know, hearing any of us.
Can you guys hear us?
Yeah.
Brandon, can you hear us?
I can hear you both just fine.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know, unless, oh, geez.
What?
Unless my audio, I will fucking, no, my audio's fine.
There's Eva and Wolf, hello.
Yeah,
let us know if you're having a problem here. Okay, AB Twitch says he can hear us.
AB Twitch, yeah, okay, good. We're good.
Chuck, pull the cotton out of your ears and try again.
Yeah, Chuck. Maybe Chuck Chuck is swimming. He's swimming. You can't hear us under the water.
I don't know. No. But
oh my God.
Just checking. But I like that Transarchist. I like that.
Thank you.
So
yeah, I thought that was a nice little play on words.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah. So. I told Brandon before we got on, I said, I have so many fucking questions. So many goddamn questions. And Brandon, if you guys don't know Brandon's a family member of us, the Hami Media Group Network. So Brandon reviews Impact Wrestling. Most of you are going to be like, what the fuck is Impact Wrestling? I'll tell you what, it's been around for quite some time.
No, this crowd knows their wrestling, that's for sure.
Okay, they do. Oh wow, we got War Demon here.
Cool, we got War Demon, we got Cool Awesome Dude, and I have to say, War Demon's birthday was last week, and we missed it because we were not here.
What?
So yeah, so we have a quick birthday shout out to War Demon and happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you.
Oh shit!
Happy birthday, War Demon Chris. Happy birthday to you. Yeah!
Whoa.
I got some Brandon titties shaking.
Yes.
We got 4 titties going.
Yes. 6. You got to see me. I gained weight.
Yeah, there you go. Happy
big
birthday,
shout out.
Chris.
Yeah, says, all right, calm down. The live studio audience isn't shut. Relax. Calm down. Enough. All right,
So
fine.
Brandon
Sorry.
has a lot going on, or Miss T, or how do you prefer to be addressed?
Brandon works fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So you are currently okay. So you are. I don't like this is new. You have chosen to start the transition into being female. Am I hearing that correct me if I'm
It
wrong?
kind of, sort of. I've got the
Okay.
hormones. I've been taking them,
Okay.
but it's been kind of an off and on because I'm like, but the process has started though. Yes.
Okay.
You're conflicted at this point. Why don't we do this? Why don't we start from the very beginning?
Okay.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us and very briefly, like about the wrestling stuff and stuff. But the thing that I'm most curious about is, when did you start feeling kind of not yourself, and what was that process like, and how it affected things around you, like life and maybe somebody you were with or your family,
Mm-hmm.
So I just want you to really talk, and in April you can jump in and ask as many questions I would say as possible. Just raise your pretty little hand and let's just talk, man.
Cool. Yes, let's go start with the wrestling. I started training in 07, and I had my last match at the end of 2017. I haven't really been involved since then. But I got around. I got to go to Mexico. That was probably the scariest experience of my life.
It is right.
To wrestle in Mexico,
Yes.
like a donkey.
Where in Mexico? No, my God. Where
Have
did
you
you
ever-
wrestle?
Actually,
donkey show.
we went to where they showed the shows, but there wasn't one going on when we went there.
Sounds about right. So aren't the bathrooms scary as shit down there?
Yes, and I remember the biggest thing we were told is do not drink the tap water. Always have to buy it at the grocery store, at the gas station.
Just drink the cerveza. Just leave it at that.
Just
right?
drink the cerveza.
Yeah, cerveza. So where in Mexico were you?
It was right across the border, a town called Reynosa.
Okay. So yeah, it's a different world, hey?
It was definitely something else. Like,
Was this like one of your first wrestling matches, or?
No, I'd been about 4 years in, or that's the 2014 when this happened.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Keep
some
going.
of the guys we were actually during that trip, some of the guys we were with actually were pulled over by I don't know if it was federales or police, but yeah, pulled over and had guns drawn on them.
And Jesus Christ, did they get out? Like, what happened? You guys have to like
I mean, they were eventually let go, but yep. In fact, one of the guys we were with had a situation happen to him where he was a federale pulled him into an alleyway, said, "I need to see your ID, sir." Pulls out his wallet, takes the wallet, takes the money out, hands him back the wallet. You have a nice day.
Really? It was one of those things. So it's not like like on TV where the guy will pull the female trying to cross the border over. And he's like, you know what to do, baby. And he pulls down his pants. And she's like, oh, yes, I do this all the time. No? Not the same movie?
I don't think we're watching the same movie.
I personally didn't see it, but I can definitely see. I mean, if they're doing that to just regular people, yeah, it's definitely going on.
So Marvelous Wolf he's very proud to say that his name is Brandon as well.
Hello,
Let's go, Brandon.
Very, very popular name.
But we actually mean it this time.
Ali RX has popped in. We said hi to Winona, right? All right, very cool.
Yeah, we did. Cool, awesome dude. And Eva, yep, we have more people here today. Hello.
So I was telling Brandon off air, right? Like, I wanted to prep for the show.
Mm-hmm.
I am, all right, I'm a caveman when it comes to this shit. All right, guys, I'm going to be very honest with you. And I'm very transparent, I think, right, April? I'm pretty, well, from what you know, I say what I feel, but I try to, work around certain things and I think through. But I'm like, all right, so I had my friend, and I want to have this person on our show, April. He is a New York Times bestseller. He actually is a resident of my building. We become friends. He's written a bunch of books, including a book about inflection of like the power of speaking and voice. And he wrote this awesome book right here. And this was about a gentleman that was raised as a female. Okay, and this is the name of the book right here. And this is my friend John Calapento. He's really awesome. You could find him, follow him on Twitter. And the reason why I wanted to read up on it a little bit, and I like, Brandon, you're saying one day, was it like a one day thing that you felt off, or you felt like not yourself, or you looked in the mirror and you said, man, I don't feel like I'm really me? Like, what was that moment? Was it when you were wrestling? Was it while you were a referee? Was it when you were young? Was it when you were in a relationship? Like, so many questions.
It was actually right around when I started puberty. Like when I was younger, like a small, like, a toddler, like growing into the preteens, something definitely felt off. I wasn't really sure what it was. For some reason, I felt drawn more towards feminine things, and for whatever reason, like it felt off. And then once puberty hit, and I started seeing the girls developing one way and me developing another way, it was like my brain was like, "This is not right." That's where the real disconnect started.
And now you're saying a disconnect. So, was there ever a time where you feel like, all right, I'm sure you've dated and you fooled around and stuff. You probably you have multiple partners and stuff. Can I ask that?
You mean of both
Actually,
genders?
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Are you guys either fans of Mitch Hedberg?
What's
Yes.
that? What's that? Tell me.
Yes.
Oh,
The driest comedy ever.
I had one girlfriend. That's why I did not have two girlfriends.
So when you were with this young lady, did you feel like an attraction to her, or like there was no attraction to her, or do you feel like you're attracted to both? Like, I don't know anything. So remember, I'm going to be that old man on a couch that has never like spoken to anyone who's gone through this situation or who lives this way. I'm going to ask the questions that maybe a lot of people are afraid to ask. And I'm going to try to do it in the best way because you're my boy. So you're my boy, Blue. So I'm going to hopefully ask them in the right way. So, so there's my question. Like, do you feel like more of an attraction towards men, or is it both equally? And if so, like, was that an issue during your relationship when you were, coming up?
The relationship didn't really last too long. She was kind of clingy, and that was something I was not ready to deal with at that time. So I kind of broke it off. But as far as like attraction goes physically, like when it comes to physical attraction, I am very much physically attracted to women.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, April, any questions?
I have a bunch, but it kind of progresses further along.
Go for it.
Well, okay, so you said you started feeling this way when you were pre-puberty.
Correct.
So
yes.
do you think that's more common than not?
Not
Across the borders, is that your story?
I believe that is my story and a few other stories. But as far as like it being a mass thing that happens to a lot of people, I think it's a much more rarer case than what the proponents are trying to make it out to be.
Okay, because it does seem like there is a push in that direction.
Right. It's more of a natural anomaly than anything, is from my experience.
Okay. To me that seems like this obviously hasn't happened to me, so I don't know. So I feel very privileged to be able to talk to somebody who's answering these questions honestly. And I am bipolar, and I know that for people with mental health issues, they're very reluctant to diagnose teenagers until they're over the age of 18. Like, they don't want to start them on any medications or anything that will they want to wait to diagnose them to make sure it's not something hormonal or something that's temporary. So I was really surprised when they started pushing so many younger teens in the along the way of pushing. I'm saying everything wrong, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all walking on eggshells. I feel like I know Brandon pretty well.
You are not going to offend me at all.
Because
transitioning. So it was surprising they were so willing to push drugs for transitioning at such a young age when they didn't want to even diagnose like mental illnesses until you're over 18.
It really has become a problem. Like, I'm very thankful that I grew up when I did instead of now. Otherwise, I guarantee you I would, if I was 15, I already had that thing gone. I would have already had it pushed to be gone. I already have teachers telling me in my head saying, yes, go this way, instead of like, okay, hang on, figure out what's best for you.
Okay.
Mm.
Especially since we have so many of these stories come out of detransitioners, people who did it and horribly regret it
Hmm.
because they didn't know any better. They could not give informed consent because they were children and didn't know any better. All they know is feeling that like this doesn't feel right, so I got to make this feeling go away. Unfortunately, most of the time though, just waiting, from what we're seeing, just waiting it out it'll eventually work itself out. And a lot of these turn out to be gay and lesbian.
Okay.
I have a quick question from War Demon. I know we're kind of veering off, but he put it
Yeah.
up there, and it's a really great question. Does the pronoun thing really bother you, Brandon?
Me personally, no. But I understand that there are some people who do it, and it's like if they're not being douchey about it, and it's like, hey, can you please, being respectful, hey, can you please refer to me as this, and that? I really don't see the issue.
Okay, so because even when like April, whenever I'm talking to Brandon, and whenever we're going back and forth, like before we were prepping for this show, I said, you know what, I'm gonna call Brandon, but I'm like, I might call him and text him. I wanted to know, like, what do I call him? What do I say? Do I call him? Look, see, I'm saying him. Is it her? Is it she? I was totally confused, and it's crazy because I'm cool. Like me and Brandon, we cool, and we talk all the time, and I produce for shows for Brandon and stuff like that, and back and forth, and so on and so forth. But still, this is like really like tedious. It's like it's. I feel like I'm walking in danger, if that makes any sense, whenever I open my mouth.
Because it's a political environment right now
Is
where
that what it
everything is very, it's just very hypercharged. That's why I feel like we're very privileged to be able to have this conversation.
Like this is like, not for nothing, Brandon, and I'm not even blowing smoke up your ass. I think it's very. I hate using that term brave because everybody says everything is fucking brave now. You're so brave, but I think this is fucking cool that you're willing to open up and answer all of these fucking questions. There were a couple of the dickhead questions in the chat. And I had to put the person on timeout because I think there's a way you can ask the question without being a douchebag. So please don't be a douchebag and ask the question properly. I think, Brandon, you might have seen the questions, but basically, I'll ask in a nice way. This person was asking, and I was curious, like, is that something that you wanted to do, like actually fully transition? Because you're saying now you're kind of wavering back and forth. And
that's actually one of the questions. I have questions too, and that's one of the questions I wanted to ask as well.
Yes. So like, what's up? Talk and elaborate. Like I said, if you want to talk for 5 minutes straight, do that. We just want to hear from you.
Well, that kind of goes back to earlier what we were talking about, like with having it done, like Kevin Kidd's transition. Like I'm like, when I was 16, 17, 18, I thought I wanted to have that done, like go that far. Now I'm actually having a serious question about it because I've heard about all the complications and the issues and the fact that's like, is that really worth the trouble?
It's not perfected yet, right?
No, not at all. I mean, it's improved, but definitely nowhere near perfect.
Never ask a lady her age, by the way.
I would not be willing to lose the functionality and the ability to have an orgasm for swapping my gender. I don't think.
Is that a fact though? Like, do you totally lose that? And by the way, how old are you, Brandon? You're 22?
35.
Oh, okay. So you're a baby. He's a baby. Still a baby.
You do look very young.
Yeah, you
You're
have
blessed.
a baby face. He has a baby face. But is that a fact? Like, do you actually lose the ability to like pleasure and stuff? Because I heard some real horror stories. I was watching the What Is a Woman? Have you seen that, by the way, guys?
I have not.
I have.
Oh, you got to watch that, Brandon. I think you would get a lot out of it. And I think it was done really well, to be honest with you. Matt Walsh is an interesting character, but sometimes I think he put forth a pretty strong, a pretty good documentary. But yeah, one of the things is I've seen some really terrible things, with like you said, Brandon, the transitioners, and I'm wondering like if if you really feel there comes a point that you want to become full-fledged 100% woman, you know what I'm saying, you want to feel, look like everything in your body, would that hold you back, the fear of possibility of not being able to feel certain things, and would that ever hold you back? But is that one of the things that's really holding you back? Because you said that you were just explaining to us that you're kind of iffy, and you heard about these other issues with the detransitioner. So like what's your thought process with that?
Uh,
Yeah, and Colin did it. He chopped his penis off a long time ago. So it's all good. Anyway, please.
That is definitely one of the things that is holding me back. And at least for me, it would have to be like I would have to be able to go all the way with it. And unfortunately, there is no way for that to happen.
Elaborate. When you say no way for that to happen.
Well, like, remember how I had mentioned earlier how I'm physically attracted to females?
Mm-hmm.
Well, emotionally, mentally, kind of the other way. Like, I kind of have the emotions of a natural woman.
Okay. And April, follow up with this, because I feel like you have questions.
Okay. Kind of. In this day and age where everything is kind of more open and accepted, what is wrong with just being okay with that or being bisexual?
Good question.
I mean, I always thought people who are bisexual tend to be kind of more evolved anyway, because they have more choices.
I actually had a guy who I worked with, who I became friends with, who said that exact same thing, that he said he wished he was bi to double his playing field or double his pool.
Yeah. I mean, like, humans are meant to be social creatures and pair up. And the more evolved you are, the more you tend to, it's like the person who eats anything. They're going to be the ones that survive at the end of the day. So if you only eat a certain way, you're going to be the first one to die out when the zombie apocalypse comes. So, just saying, just kind of makes sense.
We have a question for Winona here. Let me see if I read this correctly. It says, if you feel comfortable to answer, and I'm just reading this out for the people that are listening on audio only. Where are you on the debate on doing gender reassignment surgeries for those underage? And I think, Brandon, you had touched on it. So why don't we delve into it, if that's cool? What are your like real thoughts? And this is where, knowing Brandon, and hearing you speak before, Brandon, you kind of your thoughts are different than a lot of people that are in your, like, people pushing the LGBTQ plus narrative. You have kind of a different take on certain things. So what are your thoughts on this question?
Children cannot consent. Like, again, like, if I go back in time to when I was 15, 16, I would have jumped at the chance. And then if we fast forward where we are to 35, 20 years later,
mm-hmm.
I would be regretting it horribly, probably.
Hmm.
Do you think that, like, I'm always asking my son, April, because my son's in high school now, and I think I've pretty much opened up and told you guys that he feels an attraction to both. He actually is dating. He has a young man in his life, and again, this is all new to me, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like, I'm like, what the fuck? I love my son, so I don't give a shit. I told my kid, I said, look, man, I don't care who the fuck you date,
as long as they treat you well.
As long as that person, loves you and respects you, and
mm-hmm.
you treat that person well, and that person respects you, I don't care. I make fun of the kid's name all the time because it sounds like Mufasa, other than that. But if it was a female, I'd do the same thing. That's just the way I am. Now, with all that being said, and I do agree that love is love. And, I've come a long way, guys. You have no idea. I was raised in a Christian home. Now, Brandon, you have Christian background, correct?
Yes, I actually am born again Christian.
So you're okay. So this is where it gets interesting.
You are an anomaly, aren't you?
He is an anomaly. She's an anomaly wrapped up in an enigma. So this is the interesting portion of the gimmick here. You are a born again Christian,
which realistically should not be, because Christians are all loving, all accepting. So it should not matter.
Very true. people, true Christians,
Mhm.
and this is what I keep telling people. Like, I was raised by a dad who was an old school guy, but he didn't give a fuck about where you came from or who you loved. He was very progressive in that way. So how does it, do you ever feel that maybe you would be shunned, pushed away by the LGBTQ community because of the fact that you have this Christian background, because you do believe in Jesus? And how does that work, dude, when certain biblical scriptures would tell you, no, you can't live that way, or ministers will come up and preach against you and stuff like that? Like, how do you feel about that situation? Do you ever shy away from meeting up with people within the LGBTQ plus community? Or, I think I'm answering the question correct, right? Okay, I'm doing my best. So
That's all good. As far as the LGBT, if it comes down to where I have to pick one, either the church or the LGBT community, it's the church. It's especially when I see like where the LGBT community as a whole is heading and the direction they're going down. It's
a lot of hate.
It's very much so. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it's ironically, it is very much reminding me of a much more violent and destructive version almost of the evangelicals during the satanic panic of the 80s and 90s.
feel free to elaborate, because I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
The Ozzy Osbourne and all of that, where they kind of were crucifying everything and everybody. I remember that.
Right,
old.
when they were making records go backwards, and they were
Just
like
everything. They were freaking out. Yeah.
They were saying the devil is talking through the records.
Judas Priest and
yeah, and that was what. And
we're going through that again now too, in a way.
Yep, and that was what led to the arrest and prosecution of 3 innocent teenagers of the murder of 3 boys in West Memphis, Arkansas. Just because they were involved in, because they were in a conservative area, but they were in like goth kids essentially.
Weren't they? Was this the D&D club that they had? They were in a D&D. Oh, am I thinking about that the TV show Stranger Things? Am I thinking about Stranger Things, that everybody got chased away? They thought they were devil worshippers because they were playing D&D. Oh, all right, whatever.
But yeah, that too. That was part of Satanic Panic.
I like that Satanic Panic. Yeah, I feel like we're going through that again now.
But this time it's the progressives going after the people who are just want to be left alone and worship, in the church on their own.
Yeah. And it's weird. I always say we're using, people who have been persecuted again with race are using racism to fight back. People who have been persecuted with hate are using hate to fight back. It's like as if they don't learn, hurt people hurt people. It's like, why are you using the very tools that were used against you to fight back? It's like, you know what that feels like. Why are you doing that? It's like how the parents, you grow up a kid who's abused and you turn around and you abuse your kid. It's like, when are you going to break the cycle? Break the cycle?
Speaking of abuse, have you been abused in any way regarding because have you ever opened up to anybody and they just took family or friends and they treated you like shit for that?
There was an incident I do not feel comfortable getting into on the show. But
that's fair.
There was.
How do you feel about people that do that to someone like you, who I know you, bro? You're a good person. You have a kind heart. You're smart. You have a lot to give. Like, how do you feel about those people that want to turn somebody down because they don't understand or they're confused and maybe just scared? Maybe they're feeling the same way you are and they're just hiding it.
I believe that rejection and automatic stigmatization is the root of the problems that is going on today. Like, that basically led to the basic LGBT having to move out on their own, and then they started, and then the persecutions kept coming their way. So now they're kind of fighting back. I think we had reached a point. I want to say it was around 2010, 2011 during the Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party movements, where people were realizing that, hey, we have way more in common with each other than we have that separate us. So and then they didn't want the people figuring that out. So they had to figure out, okay, how can we separate them again? Culture wars.
Because God forbid we reunite, Yeah.
I want to go back. I want to real quick. One thing. I'm sorry, April. I really want to go back to the fact that you're a Christian. So do you go to church? Do you do you study the Bible? Like do you pray every day? Like what is it? And have you ever gone to a church and then you told them, hey, look, I'm transitioning into a woman, and have they reacted a certain way? Does that keep you away from going to church? Like what is it? What is that? Like what is that like? What is that situation in your life?
I am actually very, very fortunate because the pastor of the church is somebody who I knew from wrestling.
Oh, cool. Cool. So is it Devon, Reverend Devon? That's the fire. No? Is that him?
No, it was local, somebody from local.
Oh, okay. All right. So can you talk about that a little bit? Like your experience going to church and stuff?
Yes, it was
As
actually. Well, I didn't come out to them until maybe a year and a half ago.
oh wow. Okay. So it's recent.
Yes.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I have not been in church simply because of my own insecurities.
Mhm.
But I know I'll be welcomed back once I do get over that and get back there.
April, how do you feel about the fact that Brandon hasn't gone to church, even though it appears that they're going to be pretty supportive? April?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm very anti-organized religion. I don't think you need to go to church to be spiritual and be close to God.
April hates me because I'm Christian.
I don't hate
Oh.
you. I don't hate anybody.
Oh.
I just think that you don't necessarily need a community to be close to God or be spiritual. That's all.
But do you miss the community though, Brandon?
What's that?
Do you miss the community? Like, do you miss going to church?
Yes, I did.
All right. So Brandon likes it. So what do you say to people?
I don't think the community is going to be, and I hope I'm right, not wrong. I don't think they're going to be as judgmental as one might think. Not this day and age.
Right.
I think we think a lot. I think we turn things inward a lot and think that people think about us maybe more than they actually do.
Right.
And that they're far more judgmental than they actually are. But most people these days are just kind of trying to survive and handle their own shit. And they aren't too concerned about our shit. That's my unadulterated opinion.
I'm gonna tell you something, Brandon. My son, I'll share this with you. I think I might have shared it with April here, and I'll make it quick and short and sweet. It was like, I think, tormenting him to tell me, what he was really feeling when it came to, his feeling that he might be gay. And when he told me, I was like, okay, I don't care. I love you, and that's when I had to, and it was just like, he was crying, and it was like a relief. He's been more open with me ever since then. I just feel like, I think, April, you're 100% on point. I think sometimes we think
it's heavy ways.
Yeah, we overthink things probably more than we should, Brandon. And even like a situation like this, I know this isn't the easiest thing, and there are going to be a lot of questions that I may ask that are going to be like, what the fuck? But the fact that you're here just answering them, man, it's kind of showing me, and I'm not being corny, that you're a lot stronger, and I think you have a lot more in here, and you're pointing at my heart, and in here I'm pointing at my brain than you're giving yourself credit for. So I'm just going to put that out there. But April, I know you have a ton of things, so I'm going to shut the hell up.
I just know I have some questions, just some like rapid fire questions to ask. So I don't know if this is still the case, but before transitioning, there used to be a thing where you had to live as a woman, I think, for a year before being able to go through any kind of surgery or hormones or anything like that. I could be wrong on that, but then you had to go through counseling and therapy. Was that a thing, or is that still a thing?
This might be in some places. I know from my experience, I did not. It was basically just kind of a few sessions or appointments with a psychiatrist, and then it was like, all right, we're getting started on the hormones.
Okay.
Do you think it's too easy?
Yes. I
I think it used to be quite difficult before.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of easy. And do you feel like that's now? I know that do you have some conservative thought processes? Is that the word? Processes. Anyway, I know you have some conservative thoughts regarding that. More liberals will say, oh no, just give it to everybody. Let everybody just make a decision. If you're 9, just fucking just do it. Let Parents, don't tell the parents. Why do the parents have to do? That's their individual choice. But you're telling me that you feel like it's too easy, and you're just telling me that you see a psychologist and you tell them you feel a certain way, and then they're not. Let's go do it. Like it's a big decision, dude.
I would think that's a hard decision to be put into for a psychiatrist or psychologist because you don't want to be the one that holds somebody back if that's the way they want to live, or if that is the reason they're not happy, or if that is the reason they might actually commit suicide. Then that's on your hands. So you're stuck. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're in a no-win situation with that in a way. So maybe it's not a good idea to advise people who are under the age of 25 because your brain is not able to be fully formed with decision making until you're after 25. Maybe it's very hard to explain to somebody, why don't you wait until after you're 25 and see if you feel the same way?
Right.
But you also can't say, gosh, if you're gonna if this means that much to you, I don't want to be the one saying no. I'm just guessing.
No,
what are your thoughts on that?
That makes a lot of sense because you kind of got to walk that fine line, but you don't know how fine that line really is.
Especially people's mentality is
right. These are real people with their real lives, and that psychiatrist could be that tipping point that pushes them either way.
So okay, I have multiple questions.
Go for it. I want to shut up for a little bit. I might chime in here and there, but go ahead.
And this goes from mentality to just physicality. Do you think a lot of people are unhappy and they're looking to gender reassignment to fix that problem?
It's a good question.
I can, in some cases, I can definitely see that as a thing where it's like they hate everything, so they just want to do a complete overhaul change. So it's like, okay, like how can you completely just overhaul and do it completely different? Do a flip.
Okay. Because I always wondered if that was because they said that, the suicide rate is such beforehand, but it seems like it's such afterwards. And it made me wonder, like, maybe they're thinking this will fix their problems. And then they have the gender reassignment and they realize this did not fix my problems. Like, this was not the way to go.
And that is actually a genuine concern I think should be looked into. So I remember hearing this. Did you ever watch the Chappelle special where he talked about his trans friend who committed suicide?
Yes. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah, and just for being bullied for supporting him.
Mm-hmm.
It is a fucked up situation. That actually, me and my wife were watching that Dave Chappelle special together, and there was so much sadness behind Dave Chappelle's eyes when he was talking about his friend. And that's why I was asking you, like, regarding, being in that church or people or friends or family, if you consider yourself a friend or a family member or supportive member of an organization or a church, you really have to be careful with, how you talk to people and how you, how you deal with people's emotions, because anything could trigger somebody to like just want to end it all. And I hate to just put it out like that, but you never know where the person that you're trying to communicate with is at, Real quick, I know April has a bunch of questions, but I want to give some love to War Demon here who asked this question. And I love how respectful he is. He's a very respectful demon from the depths of hell, as they usually are. And our devilishly good friend says, I hope it's okay to ask. And he does like an evil laugh. How do you feel about trans people in contact sports? Oh, this is a great question. Going up against women. Should trans people have their own division?
Man, it really is no blanket answer for that because literally every situation is different. One example I actually want to bring up is on Impact. They actually have a male to female trans wrestler on their roster named Giselle Shaw.
On Impact Wrestling?
Yes.
Right. In AEW, they also have Nyla
Pollo.
Rose.
Yep.
Oh, I was going to say they have Pollo there too.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, no, I'm thinking NWA.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
We can use that. Yeah, okay. Go for it. So your thoughts?
So, like, if you're watching the show and you look at Giselle Shaw, you're no way she should be competing with the men in the ring with the men. It's not believable. She'd get destroyed.
Right.
Or
I
she
didn't know
should
she was.
anyway.
I didn't know she was transgender. To be honest with you, you know, Colin. I don't need to bring Colin into this. Oh, who's this hot chick? I'm fucking in love. I might leave my wife, and I'm like, dude, are you sure? And Colin's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, okay, but yeah, she's definitely. I would if I looked at her. You're right. That's a really good point. But do you think?
But she also went through like she's in her early 30s.
And how long has she been going through the?
I believe
hormones?
she said she started when she was 22.
So at least a decade.
So yeah, like it's been doing its work, it's done its thing. Whereas like, I mean, I would still say like do some kind of measuring of, stats or whatever to make sure like, okay, it actually is a competitive playing field to put you in there. If it's a real sport though, but like professional wrestling, it fits perfectly. Like she fits in with their women's division perfectly. Like I could not see her competing anywhere else.
And so does Colin. I think Colin would do well in the women's division in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, but something like boxing, MMA, that type of thing, I would be a little concerned about it because here's somebody that has had natural testosterone their entire life and been able to have all the strength and all the extra workouts and all the recovery that testosterone allows one to have. And then say in their 20s, if we take the same timeline, they start transitioning and they're competing against women who are biologically born, and they've never had that testosterone advantage. As a matter of fact, using testosterone as a competitor is illegal for women. Right. So it just seems like there would naturally, even if you're going against even weight to even weight, it just seems like there would, no matter what, be an edge.
Right. Like if you look at Leah Thomas, the swimmer, like she's only been I think what is it?
3 years, right?
3 years, and she's still huge and strong and still has I believe the strength of, I hate using the term strength of a man, but like the physical strength of a man. How do you feel about that, dude? Like she's just dominating the sport and like slam dunking on people, you know what I'm saying, in the swimming pool. Like, how do you feel about that? You think it's fair?
Yeah, when it's obviously like, okay, there's an advantage here. Like that's where you kind of might want to set up, okay, a separate, like a third division.
That's what I was saying. I think we desperately need that third division.
There's nothing wrong with a transgender division.
Oh my God, I don't even know why they haven't started it by now. Because we never had women's divisions. That when they started a women's division, they said women are not going to play sports, no one's going to join, and then women play sports, people join. So start a trans division, they will join, they will play.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brandon. I'll ask this question next.
Yeah. Of course, on the same token, there's also issues of women who transition to men being forced to compete with women and absolutely destroying them.
Right. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Because if it's the opposite way, like if it's a woman transitioning into a man, I haven't seen any really dominant, females that have gone to men's sports after transitioning, dominating that sport. But the opposite.
There was a story, I believe, of high school wrestling in Texas.
Okay, and
yeah, it was a female transitioning to a male, wanted to compete with the men, but they forced her to stay with the females, and this person just absolutely destroyed him.
It's just fucking ragdolling. Interesting.
Because basically she's on steroids, whether the rest of them are not.
That's true. A cool, awesome dude 24 has this question here and I'll read this out for the audio listeners. What is your take on straight people having an attraction and or fetish towards trans people?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That just happened.
It's okay, April.
The best of both worlds, man.
I like when April gets excited.
I'm just being honest.
No, I've legit thought, the more I think about it, the more I think I can make a bi chick really happy.
I think chicks with tits and all the other stuff is pretty cool. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. What?
You said chicks? We said chicks with tits?
Sorry, chicks with dicks and tits and all that stuff. I'm cool. Like the more you got going on, I'm cool with it. Give me all the parts.
You have no idea how. I don't think do you guys realize how important this little conversation we're having amongst us three could be for somebody with all these questions that are afraid to ask.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seriously, like this is a big deal. Like I'm very proud of this show and able to, and the fact that we're able to cover so many. No, I'm serious. Able to cover so many different various topics, from dating to transgender life to what the hell else did we talk about the other day? Fucking robots and shit. We talk about everything here. And but this is a very, very, very important show. I think this is possibly one of our most important shows, April. And I hope you guys out there that are listening to this and watching this will spread this.
Every show's our most important show.
God damn it. Yes, it is. Yeah, pal.
So no, I didn't mean to cut off. What is your
Brandon,
feeling on that, Brandon?
Yeah, Brandon, who you want to bang, dude?
Me personally, I'll probably find me a bi chick.
A bi chick. All right. And would you be down, like, if she's like, hey, man, I got this dude and he's fucking hot. Even though, like, do you have any attraction to guys?
He said he did.
No?
Just on an emotional level.
Ah, okay. Just on an emotional level. Interesting.
Yeah, like it would have to be a situation where it's like a husband-wife thing.
That's fucking interesting. So there has to be like a real connection between the couple that let's say you get invited to be a third party. There has to be a connection between them. It can't just be two randos.
I mean, whatever consenting adults, or to go back to answer the question, whatever consenting adults, choose to do is their business. It's up between them and God.
If it's not hurting people, there's no reason why it can't be part of the play. Totally with you.
Oh,
yeah.
Hate bot. The term for that hate bot is autogynephilia.
This question right here?
What is it?
Autogynephilia.
What's that?
Is this the question that he's asking right here? Hate bot?
Autogynephilia. What is that?
I'll read the question out real quick. There's some other condition that where men are turned on by the fantasy of having a woman's anatomy. There's a word for it in psychology. I forget what it is. And then Brandon said,
okay.
Autogynephilia.
Is there one the other way around? Autopenophilia?
What?
Let's just, if there's not, let's just do that. Let's submit it.
Have you ever had that thought, April? Like what it's like to have a schlong?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
My wife
pee everywhere, have an orgasm almost every time. Yeah, hell yeah.
What do you mean almost every time? Let me tell you something.
I'm telling you, man, I'm sorry, Brandon, if I had a dick, I would never get rid of it. Ever.
Oh, it's awesome.
But
it's awesome.
I mean, it's the makeup's fun, but I would still keep the penis. It just seems like it's very useful in life, especially the way the world is run these days. So I have questions. I have a couple questions.
Okay.
So when you decided or felt this way with becoming a woman, I have many questions. Did anybody tell you how hard it is to actually be a fucking woman? Because it kind of sucks sometimes. I mean, like,
let me get my wife. She'll tell you 1,000.
I mean, like, we get
reasons.
paid less. We take more bullshit. We lose so much time sleeping, doing hair and makeup. I'm sure I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. The high heels, they blow. They look amazing, but they blow. Underwire bras. So, I mean, like, were you fully aware of this ahead of time?
A lot of those last things you mentioned is kind of what I'm in it for.
Okay. Do you want mine?
keep going, guys, because I want to pull up a little video here, and I want to get Brandon's thought on this video. Just you guys keep talking, okay?
When Nona goes, April would never leave the house if she had a dick. You're goddamn right. So why would I need to?
I gotta be honest. Having a dick is wonderful.
I would leave the house just to get more coconut oil. Anyway.
Why coconut oil? Fucking coconut oil? So your dick smells like fucking peanut butter all day?
Natural.
You don't want your dick smelling like peanut butter, April.
No, I don't have one, unfortunately. I have penis envy.
Well, I'm telling you,
it's not the mushroom.
Good old fashioned, maybe Vaseline, a little soap. That's all you need.
Soap.
Yeah, sure.
All right, you guys are the experts.
Oh, damn right I am. I have had one my whole life. What? Let me get this video. Hold on. Go ahead. Keep going.
What?
No, go.
Okay, here's a question. With that video having come out that Matt did, or the question was, define being a woman. So how do you define what a woman is, or how do you define being a woman?
This might offend some people, but it's whatever.
Don't worry about it.
It's whatever God says.
Okay.
That's what I believe. That's what I go with.
Okay.
What was the question?
Define what a woman is, or define being a woman.
What is a woman?
Mhm.
What is a woman? So you're saying whatever God says, Brandon? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay. What if? Do you agree with when in Congress they're asking that question and somebody throws the term, "Well, I'm not a biologist"?
We should not be legally defining that. That's where you start getting in trouble.
April?
As far as what a woman or a man is? I don't know. I always kept it simple. It's either like XY chromosome or XX chromosome. Sex and gender are two different things. So, hey.
Brandon?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at chat. Can you repeat that again? I apologize. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh, no. I said I always just kept it simple and animal kingdom basic. It's either XY chromosome or XX chromosome, but sex and gender are two different things. So,
okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna share a picture of somebody here, and Colin, I want your Colin. Look, I'm thinking about Colin, motherfucker. I want your opinion.
That's a lot.
Yeah, well, whatever. I want your opinion on this person, and here we go. Do you know who this person is?
Yes, I'm well aware of that person.
How do you feel? Now, I'm going to ask this to April.
She cleans up nice.
It does. Very, very, very nice looking person. So she is a woman who was previously a man, and there's been some controversy regarding this person, and I want to know both of your thoughts. Now, April.
Nice looking both ways.
Okay,
that's my first thought.
I would not disagree. Now, this person has had some controversy. Some people say that she is stealing spots from other, let's say, quote unquote, biological women, as she had been given I think it was a multi-million-dollar gimmick contract to sell tampons.
Okay.
It's gone on. All right, there. Look at Brandon. And she goes and she makes videos about, I have, talking about, keeping tampons in her purse and so on and so forth. And we have people who had transitioned and saying that they have their period. And I would assume, April, that you've had your period, and my wife.
Wait, if you're transgender, you don't have a period because you don't get a womb or ovaries or anything like that. So why would you need a trans person representing tampons?
So that's the question.
That's actually one of the things
that doesn't make any sense.
That is actually one of the things that has held me back from transitioning, is because I would need it the entire thing. Like, okay. I cannot be a imitation or a facsimile or wearing a costume of a woman. I would have to have the entire thing.
Okay, so wait. So am I understanding it wrong? So if you transition, then you do get a womb and ovaries and everything?
It's not possible yet.
Okay. Oh, but in the future it may be.
Is it?
I don't know.
Have you ever heard something called CRISPR?
No. Tell us about it.
From what I understand, it is gene editing technology.
Okay.
And the idea is it could eventually be used in the future to alter somebody's DNA to where from basically change them on a molecular biological level. From male to female or female to male, or whichever direction you're going.
Shit, would you do that? Like in the long term, would you ever consider that if it was like 100% proof that you weren't gonna like get sick or die or anything like that, or something really bad happened to you? Like, if that was offered to you, would you ever consider that?
No.
Okay, why?
Really?
Because as a Christian, I have an example to set, and basically me doing that would be saying God screwed up, and I can't do that.
Oh wow, you got a conflict going on, huh?
Yeah. It seems like, for me, it seems like, and I'm not a fucking psychologist or anything like that, but for me, it seems like you would be happier as a female.
The thing with the transitioning is I would much rather be happy as I be able to be normal and comfortable and
What's
function.
normal? What's normal? Like, look at me. I'm not normal. Look at my face.
Let me ask you. Let me throw something in here for just 1 second, as
Go
far
for
as church and God and everything else. What if? We are actually, the body is just the car and the soul is the driver. So what if there is
I do believe
everlasting?
that.
What if there is just theoretically? At the end of the day, none of us really know anything, right? For sure.
Right.
But what if there is a form of everlasting life, and that is reincarnation? And the soul gets reborn again and again and again and again. And at one point or another, we have all been, and the older your soul is as they've gone through it more, we've all been multiple races. We've all been both genders. And it doesn't matter ultimately what gender you are now or what gender you choose to be now. What matters is your soul. And that God didn't screw up because you, the soul part of you, wasn't a mistake.
I mean, I have heard that theory before, but I do strongly believe also too that we were created one time, once to live one life here, and then to basically have that life stand up to judgment, and whether or not we lived a life of what am I trying? I'm sorry, kind of trailing off here.
It's okay.
Because I've never really had this conversation before, so it's. I'm trying to get my thoughts gathered here.
Mm-hmm.
I do firmly believe that when he says created, I mean like the flesh as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe too that there are anomalies in nature, and I think that sometimes he might. We do live in a fallen, broken, sinful world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see wars, we have disease, we have hate, we have all that negativity.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a corruption from the original design because of the original sin that was done and caused by Adam and Eve that's been growing since. And I believe that is part of that what happened with me being this way is a result of that. And I believe that at least in God's infinite wisdom, he let that happen for a reason. And I also believe this conversation is part of that reason.
You don't believe that you're a mistake, do you?
No.
Thank God.
But I got worried there for a minute.
I've had a lot of fights with myself with that, and it has actually been Jesus who that is. Oh, I'm gonna get kind of deep here and kind of
go for it. We get deep
bro.
all the time. Go ahead.
Don't make me cry, bro. You make me cry, I'm gonna punch you in your throat.
I've literally been to the point where Jesus was literally the one thing that kept me from ending it.
Okay. And I think almost everybody has had that moment at some point or another for whatever reason. So it's relatable.
Yep. And I'm glad you didn't.
I don't think
Excuse me.
that's okay. I don't think, like you said, I don't think God makes mistakes. You're made the way you are.
He does not.
And I think the meaning of life and a life well lived is to experience joy and to bring others joy in a healthy way. And I think I could always be wrong, but I think that if living your best life is as a different gender, and that is where you should be to experience joy and bring others joy, then that's where you should be.
And also, go ahead,
sorry.
Brandon. No, I want to hear you with your thoughts, and I got mine.
And I also think too, a lot of people, myself included, really sleep on and not, I wouldn't say take for granted, but greatly underestimate. I mean, greatly underestimate is how forgiving he is and merciful he is.
God. All right. So this got heavy.
This is where you're supposed to sing something, Ray.
Right. I can't
Do some
sing.
do some karaoke.
like
no, because I'm feeling like I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm feeling like the conflict, but also at the same time, you know, it touches my heart. There is conflict, but also there is like you stand by what you feel, what you believe so much, and it's a fucking shame that people don't do that more. You know, that they don't stand by something they truly love and believe, and you love and believe Jesus, and the fact that you have that faith, and a lot of people, you know, don't have that faith anymore. The fact that you have that faith and you and that faith in something that you believe is bigger than you and just wants what's best for you kept you from hurting yourself. I don't know why that just touched my heart so much. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think Brandon gets me. I know you get. Do you get me, April?
I do.
You know,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I want to tell you, Brandon, that well, number one, April said it, you're not a mistake. And I also believe God doesn't make mistakes. And for people that don't believe in God, I believe that human beings are miracles.
You guys are familiar with the term pantheism?
Yeah, the fucking black giant cats and shit.
No, pantheism is the theory that Hinduism and Islam and Christianity and Judaism and Shintoism and all these different types of religions, and everybody has their own god or gods or goddesses. And it's like, who is right? Well, pantheism is the theory that all of these religions exist because God willed it that way. God created it, or the gods created it. So they're supposed to be here. It's supposed to be that way, and they're supposed to respect each other and live copacetically. So, what if the ability to have gender reassignment surgery or to change is here because God willed it to be here, willed it to be a possibility?
Brandon, I know your retort, Brandon, to this theologically speaking. So, what are your thoughts? I already know what you.
Maybe it exists because it's supposed to be here.
I'm not going to say. I don't think willed would be the right time. I say allowed.
Allowed.
Simply because of he is, at the end of the day, he is still ultimately in control, no matter what happens, and he has his, I guess, reasons for letting things happen for reasons that we will not understand, because he is who he is and we are who we are. And I mean, we'll find. I guess we'll find out once the time comes.
Yeah, on the other side, bro. You know, I believe Hulk Hogan had the biggest pantheons, 24 inches. Brother, why are you laughing? Oh, don't do. You know what?
You're too funny. You're too funny.
No, I don't have any.
I'm getting out pec flex here.
I don't have any. I mean, I do. My God, wow! I didn't think I was gonna get there. I'm usually a lot more zany during this show. This is very. I don't know. I'm very touched by you, Brandon. I'm serious. I'm very touched by this. Like, this is do not touch me. Don't touch me again. All right, April. I know you got 1,000 more questions.
No,
here.
I mean that kind of covered it. I was just like, I had a question about the cost. This seems like it would be very, very prohibitively expensive, and like the medication is something. Do you have to stay on it the rest of your life, or like what's? It seems like it would be. Seems like a real fucking commitment, you know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, like, as far as pricing of the other surgeries would go, as far as, like, facial, other cosmetic ones, and of course the big one. But I do know that, at least for me, the estrogen that I paid for was about $16 for a month.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Is that so? How do you? Oh, I have a question.
Wait, I have one more in there.
Yeah. I have a question. I won't forget it.
Speaking of the big ones, how many people go through the entire thing? And is that common or less common?
That I honestly do not know. Because I think so. There's a lot of people that are going around saying, like, trying to go like, women have penises. It's like, so I think a lot of people are realizing, like, finding out that, like, the trouble that it's worth and the possible complications, especially, like, and the work itself that it requires to just keep it open after surgery is insane to me, at least anyway.
Wait, what's
keep-
Like daily dilations.
and this is for
What is that?
Is this for getting a vagina?
Yep. Like,
So,
basically, yeah, it's something you have to stick in there every day to keep it from sealing up.
So yeah, they reverse they reverse the penis, right, and put it in. Is that how? Well, that's how the surgery used to be, right?
Like, I'm not 100. Yeah, I'm not sure how the surgery goes, but like how I understand it is the body treats it like a wound and tries to heal it up.
Really?
Yikes! I didn't know that.
That's interesting. I didn't know that either. Is that why it's so painful at times for people transitioning? They regret it.
Yeah, and there's somebody I follow on Twitter who is who's from Canada, native, and got the surgery done, and they are having some issues with it. Like, they're considering, or they're trying to get legal action done.
Scott Demore? Oh, no, that's my buddy. No, not him. Sorry. My buddy.
Shush.
I'm fucking with you, Scott.
No, do you know who Scott's dating?
Yeah, I know Scott. I know exactly who he's dating.
I don't.
Oh, she don't know. Go ahead, tell her.
Mm-hmm. Giselle Shaw.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
More power to him.
Good for him. You didn't know that?
I don't know anything. I'm kind of out of the. I know a little bit. I'm kind of out of the business, so I hang around the fringes. That's it.
Scott Demore as Rip Taylor.
That's funny. Yeah. So Hitman says Brand is right. People are going nuts due to daily dilation after the bottom surgery. They wish they never transitioned because it's not how they were told it would be. It's effort they didn't expect. So,
Yeah,
it seems like a lot of. I guess that's part of the reason why I was interested. It's been interesting to have you on here because a lot of people, I don't think they know the whole story, like everything involved, like how much work is involved and how much emotion is involved and how much money is involved and what you deal with other people. And it's it's like fully informed consent kind of situation. Do people have that?
No, not children don't, especially when they're telling parents and children that these puberty blockers are not permanent and they're reversible when
they're permanent.
Especially like Lupron, which is what they use to chemically castrate sex offenders.
Does that anger you, Brandon? It seems like I could see it in your eyes, and I could see your throat tighten up when you hear about, when you speak about children and how right now society is kind of pushing,
preying upon them.
I would say, yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, in that
they're preying on them.
Yeah, like what is
whether it's vaccines or puberty blockers or just making them more they're dumber in classes. They're just preying on them, it seems like.
Brandon, can you be really like transparent in your thoughts regarding that?
It's the way the children are being preyed upon is frightening, and I can't help going back to the this one passage in the Bible where Jesus said, like, if you harm children, you would be much better off with a millstone tied to your neck and cast out into the sea than what will happen to you.
Shit. Yeah, don't fuck with kids, man.
But they do, don't they?
And I honestly believe this is part of a much more sinister plot and plan and conspiracy to eventually gradually be able to get children to consent to other things.
Like,
Let's just say trips to a certain island in the Virgin Islands where a guy may or may not have used to live who may not have committed suicide.
right.
Those kind of activities.
It's pretty fucking spot on.
We love conspiracy theories.
When I see like things about how in schools are having teachers telling kids to keep the secrets between them, that's straight up predator behavior.
Yeah, that shit.
That's the same. Like I remember in the Michael Jackson documentary, that was the same stuff that they got him for.
Mm-hmm. It's weird how it's changed. It's weird how
before
it's
Mike
weird
was
how
a predator, and now it's like it's kind of like what school teachers are doing.
I know, it's weird. Like we have I live in Florida, and people got really upset because they thought it was called they renamed it, of course, Don't Say Gay Bill, but of course there's nothing in it that said that at all. So it was I read the entire bill or law, and it was the fact that teachers and staff in the schools should not be discussing anything sexual with children from kindergarten through third grade. That it was found it's inappropriate. So you should be concentrating on, reading, writing, arithmetic, and just leave anything sexual or gender related out of the classroom.
I've seen some of those books.
That's not appropriate. But wait, it gets better. So a lot of people got really, really upset. And they said, oh, don't say gay. You're not allowed to talk about gay, with these kids. It's like, hang on a second. Why are we upset with that? But we're not upset that they took taxpayer money to actually have to pass this bill in the first place. Because what was going on that they needed to actually spend money to pass that bill in the first place? Why aren't we asking that question? Because I remember in school, nobody talked to us about sex at all when we were kids. You just didn't.
And now they thing. Yeah, now they have books in middle school libraries of drawings of people giving blowjobs.
Yep.
That's so what's that about? And then they're trying to ban other books of stuff that people really need to read, like the Anne Frank diaries.
By the way,
Anne Frank diary.
MV Hitman did give some love, so I have to throw up the gimmick.
Oh yes. We gotta flex the boobies. We do. Yep. Titties for biddies here.
I can't. Now if I got up and shook my gimmick, then that would be a problem. Right? We get cast off of YouTube.
There are two different sets of rules still, Ray.
Yeah, no kidding. I ain't got much to shake. It's fine.
Yes, you got to do it, Hitman. Thank you.
No, MVMS says no, Ray, do not shake my gimmick. And the funny thing is, I am wearing gray sweatpants right now, guys and gals.
No, we don't want to say it's cool. I'm not wearing. At least this is a no pants. This is a no pants podcast. I can't believe.
Wait, you guys wear pants?
No,
you don't wear pants, right?
No.
Okay, good.
No,
I have to
business.
Put a towel
It's business.
Pants off, pal. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
business pal. Up top, party on the bottom.
All right, good. That's good. April, you drop something. Stand up and pick it up behind you. Oh, damn it! I always try. I always fail. God damn it! Oh shit! All right, here we go. Oh, that's so fantastic. I love this show.
So Winona said it's sad, but children along with the disabled, elderly, are three groups seen as the weakest of the species and are often preyed upon because of it.
Yep.
It's interesting too. Remember we were talking about word magic?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about preyed upon and preyed upon, sounds the same no matter what you know what I mean?
Well, it depends on who's doing the praying.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
I preyed upon some people, but not in that way, not in a negative way.
Right.
Oh, that kind of reminds me. You guys ever heard the Malcolm X quote, or where he talks about how white liberals and white conservatives, how the white liberals use the Negro as a political football against the white conservative, their adversaries?
No,
I remember hearing that.
I see the exact same thing playing out with the Democrats and the LGBT community.
That's a fucking good point. That's a good point. They're using the LGBTQ community as the football, as a weapon. That's the way I look at it. And I don't
weaponized, exactly.
Well, to be fair, the liberals are using a lot of things as weapons rather than having actual true interest in furthering the cause for the greater good of the people. I mean,
in a way, I kind of wish it was the 80s and 90s again. when just being gay or wanting to and I'm not equating dressing in drag because being a drag queen and being a
It's
transgender,
fabulous.
two different things. I bust my wife's balls all the time because she watches she loves the fucking RuPaul show, the drag race shit.
Drag race, yeah.
And I have to secretly say that I find it incredibly entertaining, but I have to make fun of it all the time just to but what I'm saying is I feel like in the 90s and in the 80s, even though the 80s was a little more dangerous to come out and say that you were gay, especially the 70s and below that, it was incredibly dangerous. But
I got friends that were beat to shit for that. I mean,
in the 90s, I felt it was more like just love and fun. People, going out and meeting each other and making love and having. Now it's become weaponized. We just said it. It's become weaponized. Who you love has become weaponized. How and it's not good.
Well, in the 90s, in the early 2000s, it was like they would weaponize the whole interracial thing.
Ugh.
So
yep, you have people on both sides calling you a race traitor,
you're a race traitor, and how is your kid isn't going to know who they are? How are they going to grow up? They're going to be confused, and I remember all that.
MV Hitman 73 says, my cousin Eddie is gay. In the late 90s, I had to walk with him down 86th Street just so he wouldn't get it. That's a fucking shame.
Yeah, I had friends in the 2000s. I had good friends in Boston who lived in, they were in it was the South End, right? That was the gay area of Boston. Mm-hmm. And they would come over up to Kenmore Square, and we all worked out the same gym and would hang out. But at a certain time, if they're walking alone, carfuls of guys would pull up and beat the shit out of them, and it happened more than once.
Why though? Why? Like I never got that, man. Yo, not for nothing. I know I'm just gonna sound like a meathead.
Yeah, honestly, it might go back to Fauci a little bit because he scared the shit out of everybody with AIDS.
Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, he's just a terrible human being who should
he's a piece of shit.
Be tortured.
How he made it past the AIDS scandal, I have no idea.
Oh my God, that was the test thing for the whole COVID thing.
Can I tell you something, guys? I don't know if I ever shared this. My uncle, that was my dad's tag team wrestling partner. They were a team together. If I ever showed you the picture, and I'll put it up here one day. My uncle used to wrestle under a hood or a mask, and my father they were both heels, bad guys. And my uncle was he was like, you remember Night Court? Mm-hmm. He was Dan Fielding. I mean, he was a woman every other day. He just had a way with the ladies, and he ended up getting AIDS. And my uncle was like, I remember this is in the 80s, and he was like, I thought it was just a gay disease. He would tell my mother, and I was still pretty young. And yeah, we were afraid to hug him, afraid to kiss him, afraid to love him. Yeah. And until one day we were just like, fuck it. Where's the, and my uncle passed away because of the disease. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Dr. Fauci really put a lot of fucking fear in people, and he did it again.
And he had people that were isolated.
Yes.
They lost their families.
They basically, can I tell you, they basically
thought they were going to get AIDS from toilet seats, as someone pointed out.
April, they basically,
being in the same room with other people that were gay. Do you remember that?
Think about this. The doctors literally told me and my family that it's up to us whether we wanted to go and be physically loving. We had to sign papers and shit.
He got an entire nation of people to stop fucking in the 80s. He had us all stop having sex during the 80s with coke binges and everything else. He had to stop having sex.
It seems like it's breaking you up, Brandon. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, this shit broke my heart, dude.
And people don't remember that, and then they just believe him again with this whole fucking vaccine thing. Like, they don't know what he's about.
Your thoughts, Brandon?
And they separated us again.
How he still had a career after that is criminal.
It's beyond criminal. He's in with something that is at a much bigger picture going on here, and how people can't see it or don't remember it is amazing to me.
Or here another theory is they could be using him as a eventual scapegoat, let him just suck up all the heat, so that way once there's time to harvest that calf or harvest that cow, all that heat goes to him and everybody's happy and takes the heat off of his bosses.
I don't know.
Listen, April, I don't know if you believe in heaven and hell. I know me and Brandon both believe in heaven and hell, but I believe there is a very special place in hell for that piece of shit.
It's going to take too long. He needs to have it now.
Guys, I have about 10 minutes because I really have to. I have to get dressed and leave. I'm so sorry. I
Un-
wish I could talk
un-
longer.
The only thing that would save him is repentance and turning to Christ.
That's the only thing.
I don't even know if he deserves that, honestly.
That doesn't mean he should not.
It's ruined so many people's lives.
No, that doesn't mean he should not get his earth punishment.
Here's the deal. Let me explain something to you guys that don't understand like Christianity. Just because you ask for forgiveness, just because you give your life to Christ, doesn't mean you don't have to answer to the multiple sins that you committed. This is the thing that people don't understand. People think that you don't
answer for it eternally, but you answer for it here.
You answer for it here. You will answer for your sins. And also for those people that do believe in Christianity, do understand that portion of it. And I think a lot of religions are like this, that once you get to the afterlife, you're going to have to explain yourself.
Yep, you still have to explain it. And that is going to be an awkward conversation.
Very awkward. Lucy, you have some explaining to do. Listen, guys, I got about 8 minutes. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, it's like somebody pointed out, he's got money funneling through the NIH with his wife. So, it's like there's a lot more going on there. But yeah. Anyway, where can people find you and your show and everywhere? Where's your information?
You always find me on Twitter at Transarchist Tia. I am also every Monday night on the Hameen Media Group doing the Impact Attack with the Vet. I also have a Twitch channel at Miss Chia the Transarchist.
Hold on. What, while you were doing that, I should have played this.
Is this really your music?
Yep.
That is his theme song. The Vet. His cohort has his own theme music. So when I edit their podcast, and by the way, Brandon, you and the Vet have heat with me. I have to fucking find where to put the music in now because Vet doesn't stop, like he used to before. This is inside baseball right now. But God damn it, man. Brandon, I think I would love to have Brandon just come on just to bullshit with us and talk regular topics. Would you be cool with that, April?
Definitely, yeah.
If you ever open, Brandon,
I'm sorry, I didn't
Absolutely.
I didn't mean for us to reduce you to just gender questions. I just know that there's so many people that have questions who don't ever have the chance to have them answered honestly. So thank you for indulging us.
Oh, no problem. It's my pleasure.
I know there's so much more to you than just that. So it would be great to have you back on.
Yeah, because I want to talk also eventually about like gaming, streaming, that whole landscape.
Yeah.
That whole landscape. God damn it. Do we have a guest next week?
I can't remember. I gotta look.
I don't think so.
I gotta look.
Yeah, let's look. But Brandon, whenever you're available, I would love you to come back because I want to talk about the gaming community. This is me. And April, I don't know if you know anything about it, but that is a fucking weird place. Ain't that right, Brandon?
You'll find all kinds in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting and how that's evolved.
Like, I'll put it to you this way. Like, I play World of Warcraft with a group of people in our guild. We have a married couple. We have a couple guys who were in the military. We got a retiree in his 80s. We got a gay nurse. We got I have to get out the list of just the different people and backgrounds that we got just in the people that I play with.
Shit, I fucked up. So my background, I'm thinking craft. I'm thinking Minecraft. You play Warcraft.
Oh yeah, Warcraft is different.
God damn it. Wrong background.
Oh, by the way, speaking of gaming, if you guys haven't seen, I think it's called the Last of Us, which is based on that game.
Oh yeah.
So good. It's on HBO. So good.
Bro, let's by the way, Winona, thank you. Love the show. Love shows like this that explore different ways of thinking and doing things. I think we all love Brandon a little more.
Well, I didn't know you to begin with, so I don't love you more, but I totally respect everything you've had to say, and I appreciate it. And I feel smarter. So
yeah, I want to know about the gay nurse.
Oh yeah, he's just a dude who he works as a nurse and plays WoW.
Is he good?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. You and the Vet have to do some team streaming. You guys do that?
Colin!
Oh, look at this piece of shit coming in so late.
Unfortunately, our schedules don't really line up that well because I work during the day.
Look, Colin's internet's working.
Finally, piece of. piece of trash.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Chowny man, I didn't get to say hi to you. I didn't get to say hi to a couple people. So thank you, Evil Jackalopes and Hatebot and everybody else on here who showed up late. I appreciate you being here. We will be back again next Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. with another lively show. You can find us on Patreon, The A Show, if you're listening. You can find me on Instagram, Real April Hunter, or Patreon, April Hunter. Brandon told you where you can find him, Big Ray Hernandez. You just do a search and you can find him everywhere. Thank you, and we love you. Thank you for being part of our show. Mwah.
Mwah. I'll do that.
Twitching on Twitch, baby. Twitch on Twitch.
Later, guys. Love you all.
Bye, Allie.
Titties.
Have
you seen my baseball? Have you seen my wiener?